Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Fireside Pod, where the fire's crackling, conversation's smacking, and we bring soccer, friendship, and laughter.
Oh man, it was going so well. I thought my job was absolutely lost, and then you panicked.
That's a classic joke.
It
That's
was
a classic
so
joke.
good to start.
Just like the UEFA creating this new Champions League format. Just
Wow,
a classic joke.
What an
That's a good transition.
What an absolute transition.
He recovered well.
Okay.
Oh, so close.
Well, after that intro, welcome everybody. Welcome back. Today's topic of conversation. Last week we did a bit of a debate. This week we're going with more of just a conversation. It might get heated, it might not. We're going to find out. But we are going to be talking new UCL and Europa League format. We are not going to talk, Confederations Cup? Or what is that third tournament? I don't
The
actually
Conference
remember.
League?
Yeah, that's how much I watch it. Bayer Leverkusen's so good, they never play in it, so I wouldn't know.
Totally.
Where did I get that from? Is that a U.S. tournament? Federations Cup?
The Confederation
I think it
flag?
is.
It sounds like some off-brand tournament like CONCACAF teams would play
I think
in.
it is. Okay.
Oh, Confederaciones.
I don't know what that means.
That's what U.S. beat Spain in years ago
Confederations Cup.
with Altidore scoring, and then they lost
Yeah.
to Brazil.
Yes, so it was a real tournament.
It is a real
Okay,
tournament.
So we're not
that-
crazy.
I'm not that
Yeah.
stupid. Well,
It
it's
sounded
sounded
dumb, but,
terrible.
hey.
the wheels were spinning up there, but I wasn't
So-
getting results.
Damn, rough start to the pod.
It's okay.
That's
We're
okay.
doing our best. So yeah, UCL, Europa, we're going to just quickly go over. I know a lot of people probably understand the new format by now, but a lot of people probably don't.
No, they don't.
Yeah, some people do, some people don't. So we're going to go over it. We're just going to explain quickly, what it is, and then we're just going to start talking about if we like it, if we don't like it, some of the games, some of the teams, and we'll go from there. So I am going to start and just give a quick overview of the new
You
format.
can't look at your notes.
I need my notes because it is confusing. Like, that's not even a lie. It is kind of confusing. All right, so first things first, you can no longer drop out of the Champions League into the Europa League. You used to be able to go into the knockout stages, lose a game, and drop into Europa. You can't do that anymore.
I believe when Sevilla would make the Champions League, they would just petition to not play any games and just go straight to the Europa League.
Exactly. It's kind of a big deal. A lot of smaller teams go into Champions League hoping to drop down, and then they work through Europa. No longer a thing. I just want to get that out of the way because that's a weird point that I wanted to mention. So the league, the UEFA, the Champions League now has 36 teams versus the 32 that it used to have. Those 4 teams, the way that they are chosen is the first one is based on the 5th best league according to UEFA rankings.
Wait, can you say that again? What?
So there's now 36 teams in the Champions League versus 32. It used to be 32. So those 4 teams, they had to decide how are they going to get in.
Oh, okay.
So the first of those 4 teams gets decided as the 5th best league according to UEFA rankings. This year, that was League One, so the French league.
Hey, ties back to our other episode.
Then
Look at that.
the next 2 spots are each decided by the first and second leagues with the highest coefficient ranking from last season in UEFA competition. So this year, that was Italy at number 1, Germany at number 2. So both those leagues have 5 teams. And then the remaining slot, it goes to the national champion to emerge from the qualifying rounds. So that's a new thing they've kind of created to get that last team in. So that's how those 4 teams have been decided.
UEFA loves their coefficients.
Yeah, they do.
Love them.
And their confederations.
So the way it now is going to work is each team is going to play against 8 different opponents from each of the 4 seeded pots. 4 home games, 4 away games versus the old way was 6 games. You had your group. You played each team twice, 1 away, 1 at home, 6 games. So now it's 8 games against 8 different teams. Teams who finish in the top 8, they go directly to the knockout stage. There are literally 11 tiebreakers to decide how that gets in. I'll just do the first 3 because those are the important ones. But points obtained in group matches played among teams in question, superior goal differential from group matches played amongst teams in question, and then goals scored in group matches played among teams in question. So 1, 2, 3, that's how they do that tiebreaker. So you have 2 teams that are tied for 8th. That's how they're going to figure out who the 8th team is. Now, the teams ranked 9 to 24, they have to go against each other in a knockout playoff round to join the other 8 teams in the round of 16. So that's a 2-leg knockout. So you have 8 teams directly in, and those next teams have to all play in an extra leg to get into the final 16.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Positions 25 to 36 eliminated from all competitions.
Gone.
So that's why I
See ya.
said it used to be maybe you can go to Europa, you're done. All competitions, you're out. In the knockout phase, it's very similar to what it used to be, where all ties are contested, home and away, culminating in one single leg final to decide the whole thing.
Question.
Yes.
Do away goals count as double now?
No.
Or is it still
No, they've left it like they just had it previously.
No
Yeah.
more away goals.
No, that's still gone. So that's, I'm sure there's other minute details people may be questioning. That's the big picture. You can follow it with what we just talked about there. Shouldn't have a problem.
You did a fantastic job explaining that, but do you
Thanks.
know how I know this is a
Confusing?
ridiculous and dumb?
Because we had to do that.
That felt like someone was explaining a new border card game to me.
There are
And I
literally
had no way to follow that.
UEFA has literally released multiple videos on YouTube you can go watch that are explaining this exact thing. Like, they felt the need to have to put money into these videos to go explain this because it wasn't simple enough before that. And just the last point, this isn't on the actual structure, but it used to be, we all know the manual pooling of the balls to decide the teams.
That was one of my favorite parts.
Are you laughing because I said balls?
Pulling balls.
Okay, it was the combination.
Manually.
Manually pull. That's kind of funny.
Not that automatic crap.
Now the way it works is every team gets now I can't even do it. Every team gets their ball pulled, and then there's an algorithm, a computer that decides all the games they play.
I missed the blue balls in the little glass container.
So that's how it works now. They have hired a software company to create a software that picks the rest of the games for the teams, and apparently they have a backup software in case the first software doesn't work. So they've really invested in this thing.
Are they doing it on TV? Are they still picking the teams on TV? Like they would have, all like the players come up and pick
Yeah.
things out of the pots. And
Yeah, I don't.
they'd mess it up and like couldn't unravel the paper or something.
So I read about this. I don't know. I didn't watch how they did it. I don't even know if they did it like this year since the first year, but they did the math and they said had they stuck with the manual way, it would have taken like 4 hours. They would have had to pull like 900 different
Makes sense.
balls. So I don't know how they're going to do it. I'm guessing what they do is they pull just each team once and then let the computer do its work.
If they do this on TV with this software is, randomly but not randomly generating their matchups, that whatever the first software is going to fail if they have it on TV. Like there's going to be a major glitch.
Yeah, I don't know. Just to be clear, I didn't look that deep into it to understand how the software works. It's not random. I'm pretty sure the way it works is it's looking to match you against more even opponents more often.
Well, there's 4 pots, right?
Yes.
And they pick 2 out of each pot, and that's your 8 matchups.
And
The
teams
point is
from
you're-
one country can't play
Yes.
teams from the same country.
Yeah.
And
So
the point is you're not gonna get like Man City's not gonna have 7 easy games. They're gonna have as many hard games as a Madrid is gonna have.
You'd think
and they're
that.
both. There's obviously nuance, but and you never know how teams perform in the Champions League, right? So that's obviously okay. So we're into it now. Let's just start talking. We're already doing it. So
I want to make sure, I've gone through a lot of English domestic competitions where Man City gets the easiest schedule ever.
yeah.
So I want to make sure they don't have the easiest schedule ever.
Okay,
so
while
I'm
you're
just
doing-
looking up their matchups.
While you're doing that, I gotta say something. So I did watch one of the UEFA. It was actually an English news station, and they were talking about this. And they had one guy who's like, he was just the reporter for the station. This other guy who kind of seemed to almost be a pundit for UEFA. I don't know if he necessarily was, but he was really pushing this new thing. He was like, listen, people are gonna say that it's fixed, but it's by a computer. Okay, it's not fixed. And he's like, and they hired one of the biggest firms in the world to audit it. So he was really against the fixing.
Who's
thing.
this pundit?
I don't know. It was in a
Okay,
random video. It was an
because-
English dude.
I'm going to side with Dave here. Let's look at Madrid's.
Oh God,
next
here we
games.
go.
And I'm picking Madrid just
Wait,
because
before you start,
yeah.
can I just do one thing?
Yeah.
And then I'll let you go.
Do 3 things.
I only have one thing to do. Is that okay?
No. Now you have to do 3.
Okay, so I'm going to knock on the table for one. I'm going to do a clap for two. Okay, this is the third one. Let's all go around the table and just real quick, just give our baseline, what our thoughts are on this thing. Dave, what are your thoughts? Do you like this? Do you hate this?
The format itself, like playing 8 games, and I'm indifferent on it, honestly. I like that you get some different matchups. So you get in the group stage, your team would only play 3 different teams, and usually it's teams that they don't play very often. So now they get to play 8 different teams, and that's cool. But that's about where the positivity ends for me on the new format.
All right.
Like it's confusing.
It is confusing.
As we just outlined. You have to write this thing down to understand. And
I did have to do this.
the part that really ticks me off about it is it's just way more games. And all these top teams and the top players on these teams they're just playing year round. They don't get breaks. And I'm pretty sure it was Rodri, right? Came out and complained about it.
Yeah.
And throughout the strike, we're going to strike if you don't make the schedules more reasonable. People are exhausted, and lo and behold, he gets injured. But yeah, it's 2 more group games. If you finish 9th to 24th, you're going to have 2 more games. So what? That's 8, 10, and then to get through all the way to the final, if you don't finish in the top 8 and you make it to the final, that's 17 games. Is that right, math? Because 3 2-legged ties to the final. Yeah, that's right.
It's a lot of games.
That's like half a Bundesliga season.
And hold that thought, because I do want to touch on that. That's the exact point I want to talk about. First, I want to let Phil just give his baseline thoughts, and I'm coming right back to that point, Dave.
Sure.
Whenever we are on camera, you'll see me smirk there because I'm ready to drop a bomb.
All right, Phil, let's hear it, man.
So I absolutely hate it, but what makes me the most angry about this is looking at the schedule. We're missing out on an amazing matchup, which would give announcers the opportunity to present it in this classic British accent, like, on this beautiful night on a Tuesday, young boys get to see Brest for the first time on the field. And we don't have young boys versus Brest.
I see what you did there.
Sean did it.
Sean, it's that one over Sean's head.
Yeah, well, I already saw it on the NBC
No,
cast with Henri and Rebecca Love. They already talked about.
No,
that.
they didn't. They said
they used Brest.
They used Brest versus what's it called? Dortmund, or not Dortmund, Leverkusen, and they said it's a lopsided game.
Yeah,
but mine is 10 times better.
I mean, you just reused a Brest joke, but okay.
Well, it's not hard to use a Brest joke, but I'm introducing young
Brest
boys
is a good
into
team.
it.
Sort of like ball jokes.
Yeah, it's like blue balls, manually pulled balls. But anyway, yeah. So don't tell me the software didn't know that. The software purposely didn't match those teams up because they wanted to avoid the comedy
that game would be.
Yes.
Yeah. All right. Fair enough. I'm going to say that I actually like it, but I am not fully sold on it. I'm probably more sold than Dave and definitely more sold than Phil. But I do, and we're just going to get right back to this point, I am concerned about the amount of games because the team I like, Leverkusen, is it's a mid what's the word I'm looking for? Like a mid-sized team, right? You're not up there with the Madrids and the cities. You're not down at the bottom, with the Frankfurts or the Brests, right? Whatever. So they struggle when they have to play a lot of Champions League games in general. And now, their schedule, they just played Milan, who they beat, and they use a lot of energy because I watched them in their league game and they look tired, frankly. And now their next game is against Liverpool, right? So now, where they used to maybe get one easy game, one medium game, one hard game, there's a lot harder games, and that's okay with me. I want to watch better soccer, but now they're playing 8 games, add 2 more, and it's going to make it tough for teams like Leverkusen, like Aston Villa, like West Ham, like Dortmund to be able to compete in their leagues when they're putting all their effort into the Champions League with all these hard games. So that's what I want to say on that, Dave. I just think it's going to be tough for teams like that. Same with Man U, frankly.
Well,
I mean, I know they're not in it, but when they get back in it, it's going to be tough for them.
Yeah, I mean, if you look, it's 2 extra games automatically in the league versus the former group stage.
Against good teams, most likely.
Yeah. I mean, like, Leverkusen goes Brest, Liverpool, Salzburg, Inter, Atletico.
Brest, Milan. You missed Milan.
Brest, Liverpool, Salzburg, Inter, Atletico, and Sparta.
They just played Milan.
Yeah, they already played those 2 games. Those are their next 6 games. I'm reading you. Like, those are all difficult games.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah,
and then
Brest
if you finish 9th to
difficult.
24th, there's 2 more. So there's 4. That's going to be 4 more league games where they're going to have played in the midweek.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
And so it's just it annoys me because it's so transparent why they did this, and they're going to give you some like, oh well, we provide more opportunity for the fans to see exciting football.
This is so funny.
Give me a break. It's you just want to make more money because
is
nobody
so
in
funny.
UEFA has like ever been corrupt or
No.
anything like that or ever put the player's best interest first. I mean, they just want to make more money. It's pretty simple.
So this quote unquote reporter unquote that I do feel was a pundit. He brought that up because the reporter was like, well, why would they do this? Like, what's the reasoning? Fans are gonna be, some fans are gonna be upset. He was like, well, listen. People are going to suspect that they did this because of the Super League, because it scared everyone, and, they needed a way to make those teams happy, make more money, get better games. He's like, but that's not really what it is. Let's be honest. UEFA always reviews their competitions. They're always looking for better ways to make the games better. And let's be honest, the group stages were just boring. I don't necessarily disagree
False.
with that, but the fact that this man immediately went into this, I'm like, okay. Relax. Can I say maybe not false? I think some of those group stage games were kind of boring.
No,
there were
see-
games that no one wanted to watch. Let's be honest.
Well, I mean, there's
Well,
going
yeah,
to be
there's
games
gonna-
now
yeah.
that no one wants to
I
watch.
don't know. Man City had a tie, and Madrid lost. There's
I
some.
mean, people always want to watch Madrid and Man City play, though.
Yeah, you're still going to
But-
get the
My point is, like, I like.
Sporting versus Feyenoord.
This is gonna sound very get off
It's a good team.
my lawn, but I just like a good group stage. I loved building the little rivalries between teams with the 2 games against the same opponent. I thought it was fun on the last day to watch, whatever game you're watching and then pay attention to the other group game if that result matters. I thought that was always exciting. I guess you can
kinda
sort of do
matters.
the same
It's not as
thing, but
much.
that
It's
last
not
day
nearly
there's
as much.
that last day there's going to be so many teams on the
Done.
border that you're not really going to be invested in any other game. Like, you're not going to be able to keep track of all the different permutations of can your team advance automatically or not. If this happens, then what do these other teams have to do? There's going to be so many games
Okay,
happening.
but what
at
do we
once.
do in America? Every year, what does the NFL do in the last 3 games? What is everyone just constantly talking about?
What? Who's going to make the playoffs?
The math that is required to make a
Yeah.
playoff by your team.
yeah,
Everyone's
but that's like
obsessed
4.
with that.
There's like 3 or 4 teams.
I get
have a
that. I'm
chance.
just saying, like, that obsession that people have. I mean, Phil, I don't know as much for you. I know you're not as big of a football fan, like, for one team. But, like, as a Steelers person, we deal with this all the time. I mean, we are invested for 2 weeks in the math required to get in. And I'm not saying that group stages are better or worse. I'm just saying, like, that math that now we're going to have, oh, my team needs to win and those 2 teams need to lose and that team needs to tie. It is an interesting concept, and it works in America in football. Rebuttal. Phil, you haven't talked. Go.
I mean,
I know you hate it.
I'm stuck on Manchester City's schedule. So
All right, let's just go. Listen, Phil, if it gets you back in the game, give us Man City's schedule. Let's talk about it.
So if we look at Madrid's upcoming teams, it's Dortmund, Milan, Liverpool, Atalanta, Salzburg, and Brest. But still,
Dang.
yeah.
Hey, Atalanta's actually a really good team, for the record.
That's
good.
That's my
the
point. And
point.
Salzburg is not an easy team either.
Oh, they're good.
They're pretty
That's
They're exciting.
That's
Salzburg's kinda
5
bad.
tough games. You look at cities: Sparta Praha, Sporting, Feyenoord.
Come on.
Sporting's not bad.
Are you making this up?
No, they do get Juventus and PSG, but I wouldn't consider Juventus good. And then they have Club Bruges from Belgium.
First of all, let's not call Sporting that bad. Okay, the other ones, yes, I will agree with
I
you.
know.
Sporting
I
is
know.
not that
City.
bad.
I know. City opened up with Inter in the
They
Champions
did.
League, and they played. What is it? Slavia Praha in their second game.
They beat them 4-0.
Yeah. So like, in terms that's the easiest Champions League schedule you can get.
And they can lose. Let's say they lose 2 games.
Of course.
They're going to win 5 or 6, and they're going to be in.
It's not like this changes anything that's ever happened. We do this every year where even in the group stage, you're like, how did Barcelona and Man City get the easiest groups? That's
and
all
Barcelona
randomized.
wouldn't get through.
I'm just saying that's all random. And I mean, Man City right now is, I know we're only 2 games in. They are in 8th. So they would have to go to a playoff if they were to fall 1 spot. Like, that's the thing. You got to look at everyone else's schedules involved. Like, what if all these other teams above them have easy schedules that they're winning?
No, I get what you're saying. And
I just feel like Man City's would
They
never.
don't. This is very targeted by us right now.
Yeah, it seems like every team has 3 of difficult matchups, a few easy, and then a few medium.
My other issue with it is it makes each game less important. Yeah. Like with 6, they had that format for so long, so you knew, okay, if you get to like 9 or 10 points, you have a pretty good chance of going through. 3 wins and a draw gets you there. 8 games makes the games a little bit less important, and so I feel like that. And teams aren't going to rotate their squad a whole lot in the Champions League, but
it's like the World Cup.
If you win your first couple games, I feel like it may dilute some of the later games if teams have clinched. I don't know. It makes the games less important. I just think they had the perfect format before with the group stage. It was simple. It was straightforward. If you finish first, you're going to play a team that finished second. Simple.
Yeah.
Now it's.
I mean, it still goes by. Goes by numbers, right? 1 through 8 all get into the next round, and then you play. It's still where you finish. But again, it's like I don't think it dilutes the games because yes, there's more games, but they're playing better teams. So rather than watching Man City play 2 hard games in a group, and we keep using Man City, but rather than them playing 2 hard games in a group, 2 against one team, and the other 2 teams are probably like not at their level. Now we get to watch Man City play 4 or 5. Maybe not them, but other teams are playing maybe 6 good games, right? Probably closer to 5 good games, I would think. They get 3 easier ones. So I think it even gives you more good games because now you're like, okay, let me root against Man City. Rather than knowing they're going to go through, let me watch them maybe lose to a Leverkusen or lose to a Madrid or, well, I can't talk to you, Dave, because your team's not in it. But
Phil, when did Sean quit his job and start working for UEFA?
I know. I don't
Listen,
know.
If
next thing he's going to support Barcelona and City
I'm on the
and
black
all these
web right now.
state teams.
Yeah.
Tell us why state-owned teams are good, Sean.
That's so funny. I actually wanted to talk about state-owned teams because they are actually kind of a good idea. I know I said they weren't last week, but I'm kind of getting into it.
I do want to say
that's a joke.
We didn't like it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well,
that was worse than my young boys and breast joke, Sean. And
I'm just giving, but not as good as your pooling of balls.
Yeah, blue balls. Something that Dave said resonates with me, and I know you're new to the Champions League as like and I don't mean that as
new.
A
it's just like every other. It's like every other year.
Okay, fair, but that is fair. They have been
because they can't when they get in 1 year, then they can't finish top 4.
Yeah.
So then they're out, and then they go finish top 4, and they're back in.
What Dave said about like you create this rivalry. Like I look at Madrid playing Liverpool, and they play in Anfield, which is going to be awesome. But I love the idea of like, okay, Madrid's going to Anfield. It's going to be a tough game. Maybe they lose. And then I'm excited to see Madrid play Liverpool at home and see how they can turn it around on them and with their fans be like, all right, let's crap on this team now at home. Now Madrid's going to go to Anfield, seeing how they're doing right now. They're probably going to lose. And there's no chance of like the pride of, okay, now we're going to beat them when they come visit us.
Counter argument.
What's your counter argument?
There's a bunch of knockout rounds which require 2 games. So Madrid still has a chance to play Liverpool twice.
Yeah, and they have a chance of not playing Liverpool.
I agree, but they always have a chance of not playing Liverpool. The point is there's still a bunch of knockout rounds, 1 at home, 1 away. It's just not those first 8 games. I mean, for me, the issue is the amount of games. That's where I see a problem with this whole thing. Is it's a money grab, clearly. The players do not deserve to have to play this many games. It's way too much, and then all the teams suffer for it. That's dumb to me. They should have left it at 6 games. I don't know if the way this whole thing works, they had to do 8, or if it's just. I think it's just literally a money grab. But like 6 games in this first, and then do the rest of it. I'm fully in on it.
No, the money grab, the extra games, which we can touch on in a bit here too, obviously is the main thing, and I don't like that. But again, so Lille, when Madrid lost to Lille last week, that was the first time I was like, whatever, and not in the sense of like Madrid's going to be fine. Who knows if they will be, but it's like Madrid's not going to play this team again. It was just a weird feeling after the game where I didn't care because it's like this game's in the past, the matchup's not probably going to happen again. So it just felt weird to me. It's like it's just another game versus being like it's Champions League week. Like this is a massive game. It just felt like another game.
Yeah.
And Champions League never felt like that to me, like a
I
league
agree.
game.
It's fair.
So that's kind of, and it's a subjective feeling.
It's gonna be different for everyone.
But that's kind of how I felt by
Because
that game. I didn't really care.
Being a Madrid fan, you're obviously one of the best teams in the world. As a Leverkusen fan, I see this game against Liverpool, and I'm the exact opposite. I say, win or lose, thank God they don't have to play Liverpool a second time, because that's not a game I want Leverkusen to have to play twice.
It's valid. Scaredy cat.
What do you got, Dave? You were going to say something. I don't think you like my opinion on that one. I am a scaredy cat. I don't want to play
it doesn't.
Put on boots.
It doesn't make it feel like a tournament to me.
Yeah.
And I know it's called the Champions League, but like it's a cup. It should feel like a tournament. And when it was a group stage, it felt like one. Now it feels like you're just gonna wander through the woods of 8 games for a while and hope you're in the top 8 or 24. And I don't know. I'm just not a fan. I'm not sure if you've picked up on that.
Yeah, I know.
So far.
I'm going to be interested to see, it's going to be very interesting to see those teams that get eliminated. Are they just going to be the worst teams? Or are we going to see, is it going to be interesting to see some teams you're like, how in the world did they not get through?
Well,
that could be interesting. Versus if it's just okay, all the best teams rose to the top. Okay, whatever. Why do we do this? But I don't know. I mean, what if Brest makes it in the top 8? That's wild.
well, they're in second right now.
I'm aware. I'm saying, what if they get to the top 8? That's ridiculous. Do we think? I mean, they'd probably get through their group, but they probably get through their group in second.
Let's look at Brest's schedule coming up.
Brest
Let's
played Madrid
see.
their last game.
Uh-oh.
So Brest play Leverkusen next in 2 weeks.
Yeet.
Then they play Sparta Prague. They play Barca. They play PSV, Shakhtar, then finish with Madrid.
Yeah, so
They're look,
gonna
if they
drop.
beat,
I don't know. That's not that bad. Leverkusen and Madrid are the only two real
look,
super threatening
Barca's
teams, right?
an easy match.
I mean
I
Sparta,
did that for you.
Sparta Prague and Shakhtar, they're probably better than those teams.
Yeah.
PSV, I think they're probably better than
Can't
PSV
get a
right
read
now.
on PSV because they win every game in their league by 10 and then play a real team and struggle.
But that game against PSV is at home.
I could see them winning that.
Look,
It's a
if they
realistic
win,
possibility.
if they win the Sparta and Shakhtar games, get a draw against PSV, that gets them to what, 13 points. The other 4 games are Madrid, Barca, Leverkusen, and I missed one. Oh, there's only 3 other
Did they
games.
play
yeah.
Madrid at home or away?
They are home against Madrid.
Frankly, I'm not going to sit here and say Leverkusen's Leverkusen's obviously they've been good, but that's not a game they can't win. I think Madrid and Barca
Yeah.
will be much tougher. There's no way they can't go into Leverkusen and get a tie. Where are they playing out of?
That game's in Brest.
Oh, okay, exactly. So there's no reason they can't maybe steal a win or even get a tie. I mean, I love Leverkusen, but they didn't look great against Milan, and if Brest keeps playing like they're playing, you just never know.
Well, Brest is playing well in the Champions League. They have 3 wins and 4 losses in Liga 1.
Well, again,
so far.
that's the problem with teams like Brest and Leverkusen, who's I think in 4th, maybe 5th in the Bundesliga right now. These teams just don't have the firepower to play, and they never did, right, to play UCL and their league. It's very tough for small teams, but especially add on the fact that you're playing 4 to 5 good games versus the old maybe 3 or 4 max good games.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I mean, and again, that's the part that I don't hate it. It just is sad for me as a fan to know that my team's now got to pick one or the other for sure. And it's going to affect them both negatively.
Yeah. I mean, even the deepest teams, it's going to have an effect on.
Oh yeah, there's I don't know if you guys remember Deportivo de La Coruña in Spain
I remember.
when they came back on Milan and
the
won.
little flag,
What?
white and blue flag. Is that?
They are white and blue, yes.
Yeah. Their big comeback against Milan. to get to the final. They lost to Mourinho's Oporto, but pretty sure that year they almost went down to second division. They stayed up, but that's the point. Those teams don't have the bandwidth to go far in either or, and that was a perfect example. They got to the final of the Champions League, literally came back. They lost 3-0 against Milan in Milan and won 4-0. And this is the Milan. Kaká, Shevchenko.
What a team.
Crespo, all those guys, Seedorf, and putting them in the league. They almost went down to second division.
You want to hear a crazy thing on that point? So it's very, very unlikely to happen, but a single league could now have 7 teams in the Champions League, which is insanity.
Pass.
So again, we know if you're one of the top 2 leagues in terms of those coefficients, you get 5 teams. So let's do Germany as an example. Let's say Germany gets 5 teams. If one of their teams in the season finishes outside of the top 5 and wins Europa, say it's, I don't know, pick a team, Freiburg. They go and they win Europa, but they finish outside the top 5. Now they got 6 teams.
Mm-hmm.
If you're BVB, for example, you go to the final and you win and you finish 7th. You know, they finished like 5th last year and they made it to the final.
Oh, yeah.
They're also in. So
Yeah.
any league can have 7 teams, and I'll be honest, I don't know if that matters that much, but I don't love that fact. Like 7 teams.
That's
from a
way
league
too
is
much.
kind of wild.
Because that was the thing.
It's half the league.
You also represented like your country. You're like one of the 4 teams that represented.
Yeah, 5 I'm totally okay with. And again, it's very unlikely, but if one league gets 7 teams, like what in the world? It'd be
Also,
kind of crazy.
Wanted to fact check myself. That year, Deportivo actually finished 3rd. I think it was after that year when they started going down. The team I was thinking of was Alaves when they played Liverpool in that UEFA final that I think Liverpool won 5-4. That year, that team finished like 2 positions above the relegation or 3.
In fairness, they also have Deportivo in their name.
Yeah.
Deportivo.
And they're also white and blue.
They are.
Yeah, well, that's pretty lit. So Phil, I think you said you wanted to talk about Real Madrid a little bit, didn't you? We're talking games. Or we just want to go over a couple games that anyone have like games they want to talk about?
I do want to say the season-long thing. I think they said Haaland, obviously as someone who probably plays most of the games because he's a physical beast. Did I hear right that he could play up to 72 games this year?
Oh my goodness.
72.
Yeah.
That's sick.
That's insane.
He's gonna. The problem is he's gonna. I feel like you're gonna lose. You do that a couple seasons in a row. Now you're losing like maybe 2 years off your career. Just the wear and tear, man.
Yeah.
That's wild.
That's
Is that including Europa or
that's
Europa
too many.
European games like with his national team? Because they probably have friendlies.
I'm pretty sure that would include every single game, country and club.
Okay, that's
But still,
crazy.
it's ridiculous.
72
And
games.
it might just be City. I don't know. I was listening to
That's basically a game every 5
I
days
forget who was talking.
for the entire year. If you broke it out for a whole year, you got like a game every 5 days.
Yeah, and
Which is but that's over the course of an entire year, right? They don't like their season's only for 8 months. So you can understand that it's packed in for a lot of it. I'm just saying if you broke it out, but if you pack it in, it's like 3 games a week sometimes.
yeah. And there's 2 arguments to like teams need to prepare and have depth in their team, and that's valid, especially teams that are going to be playing 72 teams like games. I mean, like Madrid, means they probably won stuff. So you have the European Cup, your League Cups, and all that stuff.
Mm-hmm.
But at the same time, then those teams are resting players. Those teams aren't playing as hard at some of those kind of medium table games or medium level games, and then you get fans complaining, "Oh well, this game's crap. Like this is so boring." No, it's like
Right. Imagine if they put a cap on soccer in Europe, like a salary cap. You only get this much money and you have to play 1 billion games.
I think
Good
the
luck.
salary cap would be incredible, and that we can go down a rabbit hole. We want to talk.
We can make that another
That's
topic
a pretty
one day.
shallow rabbit hole. It'll never happen.
Well,
That'll
we
never
know.
happen.
He's just saying hypothetically.
And just
but
like
it would be weird.
U.S. sports should have a relegation system so no one can freaking tank.
Yeah, I mean, the NBA is the only one that really does that at this point. But yeah, I agree with you.
Hey, you got football teams kind of
Football
going
teams
for that
rarely.
number 1 pick.
Sometimes, yeah.
Get Bryce Young.
Yeah, that was worth it.
Yeah. I was I going to say? Aston Villa beating Bayern. That was fun.
That was awesome. Bayern actually, I mean, so that, okay, let me take the flip side of it then.
They had like 70% of the possession.
I understand, but it's also
Duran.
the same way that I'm describing like Leverkusen, a team that's really going to be negatively affected by this thing. You said even the big teams are going to be negatively affected. So, Leverkusen struggled in the league. Last week, they tied, a terrible tie. Well, guess who else tied? Munich tied.
Bayern.
And they also didn't look that great.
Who's that cat that caused him all that trouble? That was pretty cool.
Yeah, I didn't see his name. I saw a picture of him
Number
after
7.
he scored his goal.
Who are you guys talking about?
The guy on the team that beat Munich.
I never heard of the team or the player, but apparently
The
he
team-
terrorized Munich.
Oh, not Aston Villa.
No, I was just.
John
I was
Durant.
Sean derailed us.
I derailed us a little bit, but go back.
Sean's
Go back to
fault.
talking about Aston Villa. Yes, they won. I didn't actually watch that game. So what
I
you're
watched a
saying?
decent bit of it.
Munich just dominated. And
They had the ball a lot. They missed some chances. I hate to give him credit. Emi Martinez made a couple really nice saves.
Hate that guy.
A couple on Harry Kane
Did he get chipped? Is that the game where Neuer got chipped?
Yeah.
by John Duran.
Oh my god! I did. I saw the highlight of that. That is bad by Neuer. Very bad.
Do you guys remember the Bayern Inter Milan game where was it Peja? No, is that the NBA player?
How long ago was this?
This is a long
Still
time.
Stojakovic
Neuer comes out flying header to hit the ball, and the Inter guy just volleys it first time from half court. Half field. Jeez.
I do know what you're talking about.
I think it was.
Did you say Stojakovic?
Yeah,
He did.
Did
say
you mean
Stojakovic.
Dejan Stankovic?
Stankovic.
Stoyak-
probably. I said Peja, who's the
Stojakovic
NBA
from
player.
the-
You were in the
The Kings?
you were in the right area as far as the name goes.
Yeah.
Different sport, different guy, but you were in the
Might
right
be
area.
the same country. We
that
don't know.
was a sick goal. It reminded me of that kind of because Neuer came out a little weird, right? Against Aston Villa.
Yes.
Gave the ball away.
He
and
came out.
Duran.
He came halfway out. Realized, oh wait, I'm not 24 years old anymore. I'm not gonna get there.
Yeah.
And then immediately knew he was screwed over.
Idiot.
Freaking idiot! Oh, I'm hang gliding, and I'm dead. Idiot.
What the hell is that from?
Wedding
Oh, that's
crashers,
from
Phil.
Wedding
Come on.
Crashers. Will Ferrell, remember?
Keep up.
I'm hang gliding, and I'm dead.
Colorblind.
Gosh, you colorblind.
Yeah,
and
Bayern
you're
drew
bad with movies.
Eintracht Frankfurt in the league. That's who they drew.
Yes.
I
Omar Marmouche in stoppage time, the equalizer.
don't know that
Eintracht.
guy.
Eintracht Frankfurt. I mean, that's what Dave said last week, man. He said German league, anyone can beat anyone. You said it.
It's
What-
the most fun. That's why it's the second best league in the world.
What other UCL games, Dave, surprised you?
Other UCL games?
Mm-hmm.
Let's talk about
Let
Madrid.
me-
please.
oh, sure. We can talk about Madrid.
Let's just do it because I really want to hear Phil's opinion. I apologize for cutting you off.
What, the
but
Lille game?
The Lille game.
That's where I was going anyway.
Hey, pound those fists. Nice.
My namesake did it to you, Jonathan David.
Yeah, I mean, just the Leo game.
Canadian.
That's classic Madrid. They'll lose those Champions League games every freaking year, and they don't care.
You don't think it's related at all to the? You don't think it's like the new format, right? It's just what Madrid does.
Yeah, they have one of the worst attitudes when it comes to
And then they go win.
playing games. Yeah.
And then they go win.
Madrid's issues right now are far deeper than that Lille loss. They're in a lot of trouble.
Why do you say
They're
that?
not in a lot of trouble.
They are in a lot of trouble.
Oh, they're not in a lot of trouble. He says this every year.
No. Do you want me to give you the 3-minute breakdown, the 2-minute breakdown, the 18-minute breakdown, or the 1 minute?
Let's see how long we've gone on this podcast.
3.
You have
3.
Give us a 3-minute breakdown.
Okay.
It's not a lot of choices there.
Madrid is foundationally one of the, if not the best clubs ever from top to bottom. They have an extremely serious and successful president. They're extremely good at getting a lot of money for players that no longer fit the club well and then buying players and helping them fit in. Hazard's probably the last bust of that I can remember. They're not a team of right now of high IQ players compared to, for example, Barcelona, who without getting results, you see them play and you're like, okay, well, patterns of play are there. They're doing A, B, and C really well. They just suck mentally and can't fight through adversity. if I look just the last 5 years for Madrid, they had a perfect combination of high IQ players, consolidated players, serious players like Kroos, Modric, even Casemiro, but Ramos, Benzema. I'm talking post Ronaldo. They had those core players that just you didn't have to coach them. What are you going to tell Kroos to do? You're going to teach him how to kick a ball. You're going to teach him how to play midfield. That guy's won not more than anyone, but he's won a lot and he's been the midfield leader. You combine that with young talent like Vinicius, like Rodrigo, like even Valverde, and you get an amazing combination, especially when you have a coach like Ancelotti who can gel a team so well. He doesn't need to coach the team because he already has these older, smarter players helping the young guys. You say goodbye to those smarter, consolidated players, and you bring in other young ones like Camavinga, like Tchouaméni, even like Militao. Now you have a chaotic group that is all over the place. The talent's there, obviously. The physicality's there is obviously there. There is no structure to that team. There is no IQ on that team. You have players who won't hit the ball with their left foot. You have players that won't make runs behind the back of the defenders because they only want to receive the ball, stuck to the sideline. And Ancelotti, unfortunately, doesn't seem like a coach that can coach those young players. He makes the greatest group of players and they stick together and they fight for each other, and that's why Madrid, not being the best team in the world, has won so many Champions Leagues, especially beating City. Right now, those young players aren't developing, and now they don't have the old players and high IQ players to bring the structure to the team. So now you just have a chaotic team who doesn't have... I've watched every single game this year, and there's not been a game, maybe outside of one, that I've been like, okay, their play style makes sense right now. It's all over the place. And I don't see any improvement because Ancelotti hasn't improved someone like Vinicius in terms of intelligence, making different runs, supporting in different ways. It's the same Vinicius as other years. And I can't complain. His productivity's there, but he's not making his teammates better. So I think they're in trouble. They're in a lot of trouble.
Yeah, I feel like if you take Toni Kroos out of that midfield, they don't really have someone else to replace him with that can do what he did or what he does. No. Someone to, ping the passes and move the ball, switch the play at the right times, just make those consistent, correct decisions. I mean, I love Eduardo Camavinga. He's one of my favorite players to watch. Tchouaméni, Valverde, they're all great, but they're not the same kind of player that Toni Kroos is.
So, Dave, I start work in about 12 hours. It should be just enough time to give a similar summary on why Manchester United isn't doing so well. So get started. Just kidding. Don't do that. We can talk about that another day.
I had a moment of happiness, and Sean had to say that.
Rip it out of your... Rip your heart out.
I'll give you the 1 minute version.
No, I want the 18-minute version.
No, I want the 1 minute version. Go.
I think it's the worst version of what Phil said. That they don't have a particular style. I don't think they know how they want to play, how they want to break teams down, how they want to go forward. Like if you watch the good teams, the best teams in the world, you can describe how they want to play. City, Arsenal, whoever, Barcelona right now.
Leverkusen, because they play like Madrid.
Leverkusen,
thanks to their coach.
They don't. They do not play like Madrid. If you say
like
that
Madrid
one more
used
time,
to play.
But the point is,
used to play. Yeah.
Okay, I'm just saying they play like the old Madrid.
They look like they have a plan.
Yes.
United don't have a plan. No. They want to go as fast as they can and get on the counterattack with their speed going forward, and that's about the only idea I can see that they consistently have, which basically really doesn't work all that often. And it's just it's the same problems as last year. Like there's some new faces in there. I liked what they did in the transfer window, but I'm just watching the same team in the same games and the same issues.
Yeah.
And I don't know. I was fine with them bringing Ten Hag back. Give him a few transfers. Hopefully people can stay healthy. They're mostly healthy right now, other than like Luke Shaw. And it just looks like the same team. And I don't know. It depends what do you want out of this season, Ineos. If you want to try to finish in the top 4, you probably have to change the coach because I don't know what's going to happen.
Southgate incoming.
Please. Please no.
That's the last
Hey,
thing
don't
they need.
Absolutely
don't
not.
ask if
Absolutely
you don't want.
not. Absolutely not. I don't want to watch. We don't have enough fullbacks, first of all, to play a system.
You got McGuire. He
We
loves
only
that
got,
guy.
Like 2 fullbacks.
You have
okay?
McGuire on your team though, right? And he loves that guy.
I
They
think
just.
they need Klopp. They need energy and joy.
Everyone needs Klopp,
Everybody needs Klopp, man.
except
But,
for Man City. Everyone needs Klopp.
Your boy Casemiro got bad overnight.
Who stopped caring?
And Madrid's
I
really
like-
good at shipping players when they're at the end.
Dude, yeah.
I like.
That's what I'm saying. That they're so good.
I like Ugarte. I think he'll be good once he gets up to speed in the Premier League, but they need that to like happen now. But they have so many problems that, like you said, I could do an 18-minute version of this, but
Maybe one day we'll
I'll
do that.
spare you all the.
Maybe one day we'll
pain.
just give. Maybe at the end of the season we'll give a synopsis of each of our team seasons.
Just 20 minutes each.
Yeah, 20 minutes each. Just go. Okay, that was pretty good. I think that's it though. I think
That was
we're-
pretty great. Yeah, thank you for letting me vent. I've been holding that in for a
yeah.
long time with Madrid, and by a long time I mean 3 showers. I've been practicing that speech.
I mean, we said we're gonna, our topic was kind of UCL and the new format and some of the stuff, but we got into some good stuff, Madrid, Man U. So it's a good conversation.
Can I say something to the listeners?
Yeah, one more thing.
Tell us what you guys want to hear.
Absolutely, thank you.
Give us topics to debate.
Yeah, send us emails, like he said, at firesidefpl@gmail.com, or even easier, just comment on our YouTube videos. What do you want to hear?
Video.
And if you don't like what we're talking about, then you should definitely tell us what you want to hear, because we'll literally do
We'll do
any
our
topic.
best. We might talk about balls
Blue
or
balls.
breast,
Yeah, I mean,
Or young boys.
and who knows? You may,
you can't say that.
Edit that out.
we may even have some more impromptu intros by El Matador.
Or we may have terrible jokes like that
I might be
one.
arrested after this.
Yeah, I'm not
pod.
even editing that out. I'm going to see what happens.
What? That's the name of a team.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
and that's
because
exactly
you
how you meant
infer
it, too.
something, yeah.
You're the first one who laughed.
No, Dave
All right.
left. Dave said it.
All right, we're getting out of here before anything else is
What's
said.
your address?
All right. So, like we said, we'll be back here next week, same time, talking about a new topic. If you want to comment, if you want to give us suggestions, if you want to say we're really bad at this, please, again, reach out to us, firesidefpl@gmail.com. We'll check it. We'll respond to you, or just comment on the YouTube video. We're obviously going to look at those all the time, and make sure to
Like the video.
exactly.
You might see our faces sometime soon.
Yeah, if we get 3 likes on this video, we'll do and they can't be our own. We'll do we'll show our faces.
You can put a face to this squeaky voice. You can put a face to Dave's sexy voice, and you can put a face
What are
to
you gonna
Sean's beautiful and soothing voice.
I love that
Wow.
Yeah, I'm the squeaker.
squeaker.
Among other things.
And
Shit.
and with this, you and your swearing. And
Get into question queen.
question queen. Do you want to do it really quickly?
No, this is a tough question. I just looked it up because
Come on, do it. We got to
Dude,
do it. We cannot break.
we're gonna
our
lose
thing.
listeners.
5
We're
minutes.
gonna lose our.
We're gonna
list-
do. Listen, we're gonna give you all 5 minutes on this question queen.
Okay, we have to be really quick, but I do think this is a fantastic topic.
Okay, go.
What do you think is the least? What's your least favorite rule in soccer? I know.
What a
That's-
question.
Is
5 minutes to get
VAR a
ready.
rule?
No,
Shoot, that's a really good spot.
Because that's my
I know.
answer.
All right.
I want to say yes, but because of time, it can't be a rule.
Least favorite rule in soccer. That's very
I'll
difficult.
go first.
I know mine.
Time wasting and there not being the same amount of stoppage time. Teams waste way too much time, and even you can match the time, obviously, because it would be 35 minutes of stoppage time.
Yeah.
But like the World Cup where we saw the 10, 11 minutes, that should 100% be a thing. I'm tired of seeing teams waste minutes or waste time and then minutes not
Just
being added on.
hire someone to sit there with a stopwatch every game. As soon as when the ball goes out, substitutions, injuries, whatever,
Yeah.
boop, boop,
Boop.
that's it.
Boop, boop,
Then you know
boop, boop, boop.
he he radios down to the ref. This is how many minutes there are. There's
Yeah.
no debate.
Yep.
It's easy.
That's mine.
Shoot, I thought I had one, and now I don't have it anymore because it'd be a really dumb rule to say.
Could be unnecessary too. Megan said unnecessary.
Do you have anything, Dave?
I'd like to see more yellow cards for simulation.
That's a good
If you want to
one.
have an effect on the game that
man.
may draw in more casual fans, not that soccer really needs more casual fans. It's pretty popular, but yeah, I mean, people can dive all the time, try to go around someone and just jump in the air and fall. You should get a yellow card for that.
Yeah.
If you already had one, you should be off.
Yeah.
You'll stop diving real quick if you get liberal with that.
I'm going to change Megan's question a little bit. Mine's not unnecessary, but I think it'd be hilarious if the rule changed.
Sure, why not?
Sean's
you-
like, let's
We're
create a new
already-
sport.
We've
if
already
you-
spiraled on this.
If you could, you know how if every player is over midfield, there's no longer offsides. Cut that rule out of the game so the defense is just up on like the 18 the whole time, and you can't get the ball because you can't go. Yeah, you'll go offsides.
Wait, what?
So like if every player on your team is over the midfield line.
We need to talk with this guy after this.
Listen,
pod.
Yeah.
listen. If every player on your team is
Yes.
on the other side of the field, there's no offsides anymore. You know that, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So
Yes.
imagine if you got rid of that
That's what
rule.
Brighton was doing.
Imagine you
Brighton, Brighton may not
so for
actually know
Brighton,
that.
this would be perfect. Imagine if you got rid of that rule, and then all of your players just went up into the 18, so the offense would have to time their runs out of their own 18-yard box.
So you're telling everyone would just be squished in one 18-yard
You would
box?
everyone would get like 6 yards from
I
the
mean-
end line, and that's the game you would watch.
Listen, you didn't switch it up. You might think that's an unnecessary rule.
Super unnecessary.
So Sean's basically saying to you listeners, because he was using his hands,
A lot of hand motion.
is that there's no your side of the field offside, so offsides can happen any single place on the field, even
Exactly.
within your 6-yard box. So he just wants 11 players touching butts.
22, but
Oh, my math
Imagine-
is so bad. I'm colorblind and don't know math.
imagine your goalie taking a goal kick and 22 players are in his 18 and they're waiting to make
Dude,
the
but how easy
runs.
would that be? You just time it.
Think about this.
A lot of space in behind there.
Center backs would no longer be the slowest players in the field. Your normal strikers would now be your center backs because they'd have to sprint backwards. Every player on the field would now just be a striker.
I felt bad for venting about Madrid for 4 or 5 minutes there. And
Think
then-
about 22
This
strikers on the
counts as-
field at once.
Maybe we should have skipped this question.
No, this is
Yeah.
a great question. Okay, we're out of here.
Holy crap.
We're out of here. And with that, see ya.
See ya.
Bye.